Welcome to the Down and Back. We're diving deep into the stories that matter. Let's get this show on the road. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're here live at the event. We've got some great matches lined up for you. The energy here is electric. Yeah, the crowd is really into it. Absolutely, they love it. What a roll. Oh my God, incredible. Unbelievable. Yes, keep it going. Wow.
Yeah, you know what it is. Turn it up. Feel that cornhole blitz. If you came to slide or you came to sack, welcome to the Down and Back.
Nice spot, huh? Cheers to that. Cheers.
Corn dog in the house.
I can't believe he hit that. That was unbelievable. What a shot. Incredible. Welcome to ACL headquarters. Let me show you how it's done. Right, what a shot. Unbelievable from down up and drained it. Wow. That's how you take over a game. He needs to hit the airmail to stay alive. Come on, you got this. No mistakes now. Execute the play. Stay alive.
Welcome back here. Another the Down and Back Cornhole podcast. The guest I have for this show here, wanted to have her back on the show for a while now, talking because the stuff that she can talk about is just absolutely fascinating to me. As you've seen, a couple days leading into this year's show, I've kind of put out there just kind of questions about the mental side of the game, and so much of her social media and everything is all geared to the mental side of the game and helping people out, and that is none other than Dr. Michelle Thmpson. I got to spend the other weekend with her in Cleveland. We got to talk a bit then. Decided she needed to come back on the show to talk about stuff. And what a time to have her come back on the show, because she's got a brand new book out. The link will be in down below in the description and everything here. A book, One Throw at a Time. Just how to rediscover the connections through play, right? So just because, we've all got our crew that we kind of hang with and that, and just kind of, or even just people outside the game, or we're going to get into it here. And it's fascinating because the whole mental side of the game, stuff that could happening inside in your life outside of the game can kind of maybe hold you back on some inside the game stuff. So we're going to talk some about that, but yeah, it's fantastic talk that I have here with Michelle, because she's so knowledgeable on this subject. And again, like I said, it's something that I love talking about, because it can get pretty intense, because on the live feed side, we're watching people, because that's what we do. We people watch on the live feed, and kind of in Edmonton, picked up on a couple players had injuries that nobody really knew about, or you could tell that something was going on, and that was kind of affecting their mental side of the game, where there was a few issues that had arose. So again, here is my chat with Dr. Michelle. We're just winging it. So appropriate it is the winging it interview here, because it's not even an interview, it's a talk. We talked, and it's check it out. As promised in the opening, I am here with the one and only, and I'm going to say a longtime friend, not a first-time guest. She's been on before, Dr. Meesh. How you doing?
It's been a while, though, since I came on, right, Doug? I mean, that was...
I was going to say, been a while. It's been like a week since we've seen each other.
Well, yeah, since we've seen each other, yes. But the podcast, that had to be a year or so ago, right?
Oh, I think it might almost be, like, I've been doing this for 7 years now.
Yeah, it might be longer, you're right.
It might be longer. I think it was a couple years ago where we kind of did the when you were doing the boot camp thing, I was like, hey, I'll try and do a video for it, and just kind of send me like a, hey, what are you doing kind of thing. Because I was doing that, trying to run, but it's sped up video, right? But it's, but no.
That's right.
So we are here to talk about the new book, which I've read kind of some excerpts of it, and just kind of listened to some of the stuff you've done, and I'm like, that's my cornhole life, right? It's because it is this whole community is our connection.
Yeah, and we're lucky enough to at least even have a community. So many people don't even have that. Now, I will say, even though we have a community, you can still feel isolated within it. We talked a little bit about that before we started, but I wrote the book really for the people who don't even have that, right? They're just completely living isolated. Like even if they have a spouse or like local family members, they're just missing that spot where they belong. Or I guess another way of saying it is, you want to be someone's call on a Friday night, right? Like you want to be someone's first thought. And it's so hard. I remember in high school not having that, where I was like, is anybody going to invite me anywhere this weekend? And like, that's the worst feeling. Because then at that point, I'm like trying to do like really crazy things to try to be someone's like thought on a Friday night. And then it feels horrible. You're like, well, maybe if I do this or maybe I do that, maybe they'll think of me. And like, ew, that feels, no, we don't want that.
Yeah, because, like, and to kind of put the connection back in the cornhole world is that we are already such a mentally taxed game as it is. And because I know that's what we talked about the last time you were on, but because I've been kind of putting some stuff out there about the whole mental side, but that whole then the mental side then leads into connection, especially with because we are a cornhole family here, right? So it's stuff can just kind of pile on, because I've even had some stuff where I talked about with some other people this week that the whole mental side of the game, and they're like, we have stuff outside of cornhole that we bring in, and we got that going through our heads when we play. So it can be a tough thing.
Yeah, and that's going to sever the connection with yourself, with your body, which is what you need to perform. So it all started because I was teaching people how to connect to their bodies for weight loss. That's where I started back in 2009. And I was just trying to help people connect to their relationship with food and exercise and their weight, and get to a place where they're actually existing within it all, because most people either avoid it or manage it. Like they're not connecting with food, they're managing food, or they're avoiding food. And same thing with exercise, and same thing with weight. So that's what I taught for years. And it wasn't, and the thing that kept coming up was, as much as I was trying to get them to live for something more than just their weight, like, let's just get your focus on something else. Like, you don't need to think about what you're eating and moving and your weight all day, every day. We need to move your mind somewhere else, about things that are quite literally more important. And it was so hard to find something, especially I was working mainly with women, middle-aged women. I couldn't come up with anything for them to do, like with their time. Like they were moms and they were wives and they had work and they exercised and they counted their, calories and protein and macros and that kind of stuff. But outside of that, I'm like, no, you need to like go do stuff. Like, and it was so difficult to figure out how to direct them towards something, because if you're not already part of something, like if you play basketball your whole life, you're going to go a pickup league, right? It's a natural. Or if you were an amazing artist, maybe you'll go find an art class, or if you're a really good, musician, like, but if you don't have like a thing and you're middle-aged, and it's like, where do you even start to build connections and community? And that's where the cornhole thing came in, that I thought, oh, well, this is kind of that missing piece.
Well, yeah, because like I said, we kind of talked about you coming on here for a couple of days, so then I started kind of thinking some other stuff, and really just in our whole life, when you talk about connections, I was starting to kind of go back with myself. Me growing up playing sports up here, playing hockey, you get that whole, those the friends you grew up is your lifelong friends.
Yeah,
and I'd never really thought of the parent side of the child sports, and you're like, are we really making friends with those other parents, or are they just kind of acquaintances that kind of come and go? And as as my son Grayson grew up through stuff, he's now 16, those 10 years, it's like, the people who you think were tight with you were just those acquaintances, because then they move on, and it's just it's hard to find your pack.
Yeah,
I guess
and
is what it is.
Yeah, and the shared interests, that was actually what's really interesting about my dissertation, which I did on social connectedness in competitive cornhole, because one of the questions I asked each person was how have you taken your relationships in cornhole and taken them outside of cornhole? And every single person I interviewed gave me concrete examples of how they moved out of the shared interest. So yes, they played cornhole together, but they also were camping together. They were having dinners at each other's houses. Their kids were hanging out. They were going to each other's weddings. So the reason why that friendship became so strong was because they did take it beyond just the shared interest. So if you're seeing these parents at football practice and football games, the relationship lives there. Mm-hmm. But then could you take it outside of there and say, hey, do you want to come over for dinner? Now you're moving into more of a close connection with that person. And I've definitely had that. We've had a family that we talked to from sports, Rome being in soccer, and we went to their house for dinner and it was fine. But we kind of knew this is probably not our people. They're super great people, but it's just, we didn't have that chemistry. Yep. It was my husband and that other couple. Yep. And it's okay, but we tried, we enjoyed them at practice and games. And we thought, let's just see if there's something else there. Mm-hmm. But you have to move it outside of that to kind of test it and see, is there more to develop here, this connection?
Well, exactly. Yeah. Cause that is the thing. And I know that I do have a couple of people. Well, first, because I had brought some friends into cornhole, and my first kind of partner was a best friend that I had right through, coming up, and when I first found out about playing cornhole, telling him about it, he's like, "You want me to be a partner for what?" And then it kind of got, and he kind of was in the sport and in for a couple of years, but then he kind of got to that spot where, does it really fit? Is there, do I really want to be around some of these people, which, mm-hmm. He then chose to other stuff. And then that really kind of, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to continue playing. I was still going to be doing the show and doing live feeds out there, but it was just, it kind of changes, when you don't have that connection. Right?
Yeah. And I think it's unique because I got into it because of Nick and him playing and competing. And then I started to join because I felt like this was something that he was so passionate about. And it wasn't like it was something that I couldn't build a passion for. It's not like he was getting into, football, which is all right, well, I don't know if I can play football, realistically. I don't think I'm joining your all-male pickup football league. Yeah. But no, this was something that realistically, we were already doing at home together. I just hadn't ventured into the more competitive side of it, but there's no reason why I couldn't. And it meant that we could be more connected because now there's so many things in our life that we're very divide and conquer on. Mm-hmm. We're really efficient humans. So it's all right, I'll get Rome, you do this. You handle dinner, I'll do this with the dogs. We have so much of that divide and conquer in our relationship. So if we could have something that we come together on, instead of, because if it was something like football, he'd be like, I'm gonna go play football. I'd be like, that's fine. I'm gonna go to my bestie's house. Yeah. And that would be fine too. But then that's not helping us in, build that connection in our relationship.
Well, I think that's where, our sport here really kind of is perfect for everybody because it is something that can bring everyone in. And I know I watched one of your social media videos there about someone talking about school, and then you would even kind of said school, is that where I would love, because I've talked to some people who have brought cornhole into schools, and that connection with people, the cool kids and the kids who maybe are on a spectrum or the uncool kids, you get them playing cornhole together, and there's other friendships that have spawned because of just kind of playing cornhole. Actually, this person's actually kind of, I want to hang out with this person, right? So that's what I think our sport kind of is unique in that way, that it can bring everybody together.
Yeah, it kind of breaks those barriers, right? Because you have the kid who's I'm not good at football and I can't be with the jocks. And then you start playing cornhole and maybe they excel at cornhole. And then all of a sudden it's maybe I do belong in the same room with these people. Just because I can't do football doesn't mean I don't bring something to the table that is valuable for another human to want to be around. And I feel like for me, if cornhole was in schools when I was in school, I didn't have a thing. And I think that it would have been really nice because I wasn't athletic and I had gotten really, really bad stage fright, and because I was always doing music and plays and theater. But when I got into middle school, I got really bad stage fright. So I stopped all that. And so I literally had nothing. And I think had that existed and had I given it a try, I could have potentially found a spot, because I tried to get in with like the theater crowd, but I'm like, I wasn't performing. So I couldn't fit in there. And then I didn't have the sports thing. And so I didn't have a spot. And I think it's so important to have that spot, like where you're like, I found my people. And I tell kids and teens and preteens, if I'm talking to them, if I'm doing talks and stuff, that, you might not find your people here in school, like at this age, but that doesn't mean you're not going to find them at some point. You just might find them later in life. So it's not to use that as evidence that you're not valuable or worthy of those kinds of connections and relationships, but they just might not be showing up in this space or at this age.
Well, and exactly, because that's the thing. Again, the adult people, part coming into playing the Cornhole out there. And I know there's been some people who've been kind of shy and coming out to our league nights and stuff at the start, and it's like that's what I like about my corner crew is that they bring people in. Like they don't really care who you are. You're going to be coming into you're going to be welcomed in the sport. We don't care if you're good or if you're not good. It doesn't matter. A league night is just for fun, which I'm totally about that. But the league night should be fun, and just who cares? You can go and practice having your picture in the mirror, with your one finger up. But it's give me the tier 3, tier 4 people, and I'm here for fun, right? People like Jake, even though he's, I had to beat him at Sky Joe in Cleveland there, but and then I let him win the next.
You got to humble him, right?
Well, exactly, yeah, because Jake's not a bad guy, but it's just that the way to go out and meet people, because we talk about other stuff in life being so expensive. Cornhole can be a very inexpensive sport to play, to go out and just kind of hang out with people for a night.
Yeah, that is the tough part. Once you bring in the competitiveness, it gets things a little bit fuzzy for people, because they kind of forget the reason they got there in the first place. And especially when that goal changes, you might start off just wanting to challenge yourself and get out the house. And then once you kind of get that taste of I'm getting better and I'm starting to beat people and I'm getting competitive, and that kind of takes over. And that's when things get really tricky, because there is a place for that. Go to a regional, go to an open, test yourself at the highest level of competition. But can you be disciplined enough to keep your league local nights to be for what it was? And can you then use the other nights for the competition? And that's really, really tough, because like if we played Monopoly tonight, right? Yeah. Like you'd want to win, right? I'd want to win.
Yep.
But also I wouldn't sacrifice my fun to win.
Yeah, exactly.
But with Cornhole, because we actually want to start competing more than just in the home with the Monopoly example, things get really fuzzy, and it's like that's we have to come back and be like, wait, but this right now is competition with fun being the priority. And then Saturday at the regional, it's the reverse. It's not actually so much about fun. It's how can I push myself and challenge myself?
Yeah, exactly. And then like we did talk before about how I've kind of felt with some of our league nights is that, there's been times where I've sat at the boards and like, my group of people, they may have been off doing something else and couldn't make it out to a league night. And I've sat at the boards and thinking to myself, what am I doing here? Because my people aren't here.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not really having fun. And what, just what am I doing here? And that's kind of the hard part, is when you go in there for that interaction with that other crew or the people you don't get to see all the time, and they're not there, that mental state kind of comes into it.
I always try to connect with whoever I'm playing with and against. So I get what you're saying. Like, of course, it's always fun if I have like my crew, like my intimate circle of people, and then we get to chit chat and stuff. And that has its own benefit and outlet. But I also try, whenever I'm on the boards, to use it as an opportunity to connect with another human, because the more we do that, the happier we are. So it's a little different because we run ours. So I'm getting to know people differently than if I was going and playing. But anytime I go anywhere, but like we've gone to other like clubs and where we don't know people there, Nick and I, and so when I walk up to the boards, I'm just automatically trying to create some kind of connection. Now, sometimes people aren't for it. They put headphones on or, they're just not, it's not the vibe. Or like you have someone on the other side who's like taking it serious and you're like I can still throw and have fun. Like, I don't need to be like this serious about it. And I take the cue, right? You can read the room. Like, okay, this isn't it. But if you think about it, if you're playing a minimum of 5 games a night, that's 5 opportunities. Well, technically 10 because you have a partner and an opponent. To be able to see if you can connect with another human. So that's kind of how I go into it, is just, how can I connect with people and get to know them and have a vibe and see where it goes.
Well, it's also for me sometimes, and you I don't know if you get that as well too, but you get up to boards and some people already have like this preconceived notion of you that you're going to be like this great player because you're a commentator, and it's like, that's why I'm a commentator.
I think I've talked enough about my level of play that nobody thinks that.
we sit on the side of the boards because for a reason, right?
Well, I would go farther than that, just saying that the minute I decided to be on these side of the boards is when my game was automatically going to suffer, because before I got involved in this part of like the business side of cornhole, I was just practicing and playing, and that was the energy that cornhole took for me. But the minute I dove into the other side, it's like I need breaks, and so where cornhole used to be the break, the outlet, now because I'm in it, inundated in it, then I have to do something else. Like I can't. Like we used to. Nick and I used to go to our friends' houses on the weekends, and it was just automatic. Like, we're gonna throw bags. Now it's like, I'm like, can we like play Uno? Like, I need a break. And it's not because it's not fun. It's just that like I feel like my whole life surrounds cornhole. So I will say our game suffered because we chose to be on this side. And I truly believe that if I never made that decision, I would be a better player.
I totally get it, because I had the same thing, because you do Around the ACL and then kind of and then doing live stream stuff. I do the show here weekly and then doing live stream stuff where I don't want to say I was happy that Grayson's hockey was on Thursday nights, our league night, because when I wasn't working, I was going to his hockey, and so I've missed probably like September to, well, I just went to my first league night a couple weeks ago, and walking back in there I was like, oh, like I said to people, like to Matt, our national director, and some of the other people, it's like, oh, there's so many new people. They're like, well, actually, no, you're the new person to most of these people here because you haven't been here. And so I was able to make some other new connections through that way as well, right? But we can get kind of totally mentally kind of drained from this game as well too, right? So
yeah, you definitely can, and that is a big reason why I don't take it too serious, because I don't have the energy to make it too competitive. So I have to treat it like a Monopoly night with our kid, right? That's the mentality I have to take with it. If I try to take it serious, that's just going to require too much energy that I just don't have to put in towards it, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And I like competition and I like challenging myself, but I enjoy that in other avenues more, right? Like I love to challenge myself mentally and emotionally, and there's a lot of places that I like to do that. And I get that with cornhole. I get to deal with the emotion of missing and not throwing well, and like that's more what's fun for me. It's to like learn about myself as a human, and I also find it fascinating to watch other humans. That's why I do what I do. Yeah. And I love hearing people's stories and how and why they do what they do or don't do. And that's the stuff that I get very excited about. I'm always wanting to be a better coach, a better supporter, for clients who hire me. Like that's really where I put my energy into challenging myself.
Yeah, I really liked being in Cleveland there, because I got a bit more of a break. I was able to walk around, talk to people, make some other remake some connections that people have been on the show, like talk about, like I loved Rosie Streaker's forward for the book, but I got to talk with her again. She's a former guest, and she was like, she was there talking with Deborah Odom, and saying, Deborah, you need to go on his show. And I was like, I've tried, but and just kind of making those connections again with people who I haven't talked with for a while, with guys like Frank Maudlin, Matt Guy, just kind of all those guys again, because it makes it feel a little better on the inside that they actually remember me, but just being able to go out and talk to people, and I don't get to do that as much up here in Canada as I want to when we're doing live stream stuff, because it is just me, and but it's because we've been going in so many new areas that and I'm meeting so many more new people that it's making the community for me grow a bit more. Right?
Yeah, you're describing the need for belonging, which every human has. And there's a confusing thing that happens for a lot of us where we mix up fitting in and belonging. And that's what I did most of my life. I just tried to fit in. I wanted to belong, but I didn't have somewhere where I was naturally belonging. So I pretty much sacrificed that and just tried to fit in. Mm-hmm. And the thing about fitting in, I said it in my book, I can't remember, I would read it word for word if I remember what page it was on, but I said something along the lines of, I would be in the rooms with the people, but I always felt like lucky to be there. Like, I'm here sitting at this table with these people, and I feel like I don't belong here, and I'm lucky to be here. And that is what fitting in is. It's like when you have to kind of change something about yourself so that those people will acknowledge you. You're constantly trying to get their approval. Like you're just like me, just let me be here. Let me be a part of this. Versus belonging is when you just truly are you. You don't have to perform. You don't have to act any type of way. And it just works. Like there's no other explanation other than it just works. And when you feel that, when you're like in a room or with a person or with a small group, and you're like, I can just literally sit here and not put on any kind of front or show, and we all just get each other. And I don't have to wonder, are they going to think of me for their party to invite me to their party next week? Like, there's no guessing. Like, they absolutely would. And if they didn't, like, we have the relationship where I'd be like, did you forget about me? Like, I wouldn't be afraid to say that. Or like, hey, why didn't you invite me? Like, I thought we were close. Like, I would have no problem saying that. Versus when you're trying to fit in, you're not doing anything to rock that boat. You're just like, whatever I can do to make sure that you keep letting me be here, I will do.
Well, and that's the thing, and everyone talks about our, rock star life that we have as with doing live feed stuff, right? And I kind of said to you, like off air as well, that doing this stuff up here in Canada because we're going in and I'm starting to set up at 7 a.m. in the morning, and it's just me, and I'm getting, and I have my phone call with Corey at like 11 o'clock, and we get everything going, and then all of a sudden live gameplay is at like 11:30 noon, and then I'm live till midnight. I'm kind of not getting that interaction with other people, and it's just kind of me, and I'm back at 8 o'clock, and you're
solo commentating, so that's a whole nother. Yeah.
And it's a full, and I'm there for the full day, and then it's just, grabbing a sub or some sort of fast food on the way back to the hotel to get up and do it again the next day. And I probably said it to you guys so many times in Cleveland there, but just that being able to kind of go and hang out with you guys and just kind of doing the stuff. And I felt like at the start, I was just that person. I was just kind of like, do I kind of interact with people? But then, just the Thursday night going out with you, Corey, and Jake and Tanner, there really just kind of was like, you know what, I'm here. We're part of that team,
yes,
right? And it was just then the rest of the weekend, it was just it was kind of just a nice flow. Right?
Yeah, I've definitely felt what you felt, Doug, where I feel like I'm just on the outside, especially in groups where we do have something shared that I really should be on the inside. Like, wait, we're all kind of doing, like, why am I being excluded? That is one of the worst feelings, because you start to question, like, what am I doing? Like, why don't they want to include me? And what I've used that information, and this has happened recently too, and it's painful. And I sat there one night and was like, allowed myself just to feel the pain of like, this sucks, feeling like I'm just not being thought of and not included. And like, that's so real, right? Anybody would feel that pain. So I let myself feel it. And then I said, but you know what? This is not the first time that this has been shown to me. So it's not that I'm not allowed to be upset about it, but I need to alter my expectations. Otherwise, I'm going to keep feeling this way over and over and over. But if I change my expectations and say, these people aren't part of my future, and so it's okay that they're excluding me, because it's not these aren't people I'm going to have in my life long term. It's just serving this purpose right here. And if they don't want me as part of it, that's on them. Like, that's their right.
Yeah.
And I have no business forcing my way in. That's not helpful for me or them. So once I kind of came at peace of like, you know what, this is just where I'm at right now. These people aren't going to be a part of my future, and that's totally fine. And I will allow myself to go wherever I'm meant to go without them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I love our Cornhole family, is that we are a family. We are all get together, and I'm really hoping that next year out west, when we go to the west, because you're in the west, maybe you can come up to Alberta and possibly some of me, because I guarantee you, you will absolutely love it there, because they are a group of people that I've now kind of been brought into their circle. They are a group of probably about 40 to 50 people that just travel around to every league, and
So
it's
cool.
it's like I call us with the pro division of traveling circus. They actually are, because there's a couple of people that they will drive 2 hours just to go and help out another league, and they're getting like 60 to 80 people out for their league nights, and
Wow.
it's just traveling that much, and it's that the family, the fun, and like I say, I say the word fun about cornhole too much, I think, but that's what keeps me going. Right?
Yeah, same.
It's that whole thing, because I'm guessing you'll probably feel it too, as you get, as about March comes along, I've already did all this traveling, I've got this year, I'm kind of in that kind of blah kind of area for the season. But those people out there in Edmonton and in the West, they didn't even let me feel that when I was out there. So that's kind of was much appreciated for them. Right?
That's good people.
That's
good people. I'd love to go. I've never been to Canada, so.
Well, you have to come, and I know Nick has to come, because it's been 3 years since I've seen him.
Yeah.
So I need to get my Nick fix in again.
I know. Every event, they're like, "Where's Nick?" I'm like, "Well, somebody has to stay home with our child."
Yeah, because I got to see Nick in Rock Hill, and it's. Like I say, our live feed film, and I'm glad I finally got to see Jake, because he would never acknowledge me in the chats. In the live feed, I was always like, get Meesh in there. But now hopefully Jake will. But I always, Nick is one of the guys who I've always appreciated, because whenever I've done a live feed with ACL Canada, he's one of the first ones in the chat making a comment. And it's that those lasting friendships that we have in this game that will keep us playing.
Yeah, he's the best about that. Nick is one of the most amazing people I've ever met in terms of building connections and relationships. I mean, he still talks to all his friends from a long time ago on the phone. He tells his friends, his male friends, "I love you." Like, he's just one of the most warm, like there's a reason you have so many friends. Like, you're so good at this. I'm horrible at calling friends, like it's like really hard for me to remember. If you're not like in my face, I will forget to text or call you. So he's amazing at that.
Well, I still remember the first time I met him, I was with Wally. We were doing some stuff at Worlds there, and they were going to go to one of the events that was going to be ESPN events that night. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to probably just go back to the hotel. And Nick was like, no, you're coming with us. And I was like, yeah, okay then, sure.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
but that's what I think what we need in this game, because there's too many people that want to just kind of, I can't do anything there, but just we've all just kind of if we get along more, this game would be so much better than what it actually already is.
In life, life is just more rich when you have connections, and you don't have that attitude of like, well, I don't really need anybody. I don't need friends. Which is a lie. The research shows that. And I put that in the book. I talk a lot about the research of the ramifications of disconnection and loneliness and isolation, and what connection can do for not just your happiness, but your health. And That's all from because I had to for my dissertation. I had to, do a 35-page literature review, so I might as well use it. And so that's in the book. And then some of the results from the dissertation of people's experiences and social connections, that's also in there. So there's a lot. And then my story, I've been going through the wildfire and where we lost our house. It's all in there. So, and it's a short book. It's an easy read, and hopefully it helps people just find more connection in their life, or at least have the desire to.
Well, speaking of connections, I'm looking at the time going like, oh, we're over our time because we both have to be somewhere else to make other connections. But
Right.
But no, I know you're going to be on again very soon, because with this here show, there's going to be a lot more questions come up in comments, and we're going to talk about them. And everybody needs to go out and get the book one throw at a time. I think I got it right that time.
You can go to cornholemeesh.com/one throw and just grab the excerpt, so you can kind of read a little bit before you buy it. So that's on there, or you can get it on Amazon and all the places.
Exactly. Or check out your TikTok, because you've already read some excerpts on that there from the show.
Every day I read a section.
If you're not already following Michelle, I will put all the links kind of in everything here. But Meesh, it was great to see you in Cleveland. Great to see you again now, because talking about, no one really likes talking about the mental side of the game, and it's something that is very much needed. So thanks for coming on and doing this here, and we are going to talk hopefully very soon, in a couple of weeks maybe.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me.
If some certain COO is watching, don't mind that. So
thanks so much, Doug.
Again, thanks for this here, and we'll catch you soon.
Okay.
And again, thanks to Michelle for coming on. We just kind of scratched the surface. I had so much else stuff rattling around in the head, but we were both on a time crunch. We both had somewhere else to be, and it was a quick thing. Talk with her again afterwards, and she's going to be coming back on to talk more. I've got some plans for some stuff. Just have to talk with her about it to make sure it's okay. But it just, there's so many things that can come out about the mental side. Like I talked about myself, like, it's when you go to play at your league night or whatever, I don't want to say if it's that comfort zone, but you just get into that mental space where, like I said, my corner crew, and that there was the one night there where none of them were there. They weren't able to make it, and I kind of sat at the board going like, okay, all of my connections that I have that I've really kind of made through the game, because honestly. Actually, you know what? Two of the people in our corner crew I've known since I was like 12. Another guy I've made the connection, and it's kind of funny how I talked to Michelle about how, when you have kids in sports, it's the kids that make those lifelong friends. The rest of the parents are just an acquaintance, a connection. One guy in my corner crew happened to be a coach of one of my son's teams, so that connection has kind of stayed, and really that's kind of like a really odd kind of thing, my experience. But just that mental that thing where you don't have your crew there, and it just it kind of it plays with your head, and you're like, it's not that I don't want to play the game, but just why was I here? Like why did I still come? Right? It was just that because of those connections, and just it's the comfort of those people, because I've still, like, I went to Cleveland, there was some rumblings of some stuff before I went to Cleveland, kind of some stuff afterwards as well, and I kind of talked with Michelle off air about this, but it just wasn't able to play in a league night, but I still went there later on just to kind of be back with my people, right? Just to kind of get, some stuff that was just put me in a bad mental state with cornhole, and went there and was just able to talk with them and just get that blanket feel. No, I had no other real term for it. And to be honest with you, that corner crew, after I was done with that talk with Michelle, I actually messaged them to say, you know what? Thanks. And I think that's kind of something we don't really have in this game here, is, we all kind of give each other that kind of crap talk, whatever, on the boards. But we know that for the most part, it all is kind of, the friendship, that camaraderie, our community. We feel at home with our people. We're able to say that, but then we just really don't go and talk about how much those people mean to us for playing this game and kind of help us move along. And I'll be able to talk to some other people that, they had to really kind of go and find themselves because the love for the game had been gone, but then they didn't have that community of people to really kind of talk about it and get through. So again, we are going to have Michelle back, and because we just scratched that surface, and I'd really like to have her back and talking. So that's it for me. You had me talk enough in Cleveland. I'm going to be talking enough coming up in St. John's, because talk about being with my people. They're always, that trip to St. John's is always my bring me back. I've kind of been in that dull phase of kind of the middle of the season, and St. John's being the final big open that we have before nationals. I feel going into this year, I'm going to be feeling a little bit different because I had a really good experience in Edmonton. Another, kept it going through Cleveland. Now going to St. John's. I cannot wait. I am pumped to go for that there. We're going to be having some shows coming out with that. So that's it for me for this week. Remember, give some love. Because the connections we make, it was all the people that are going down the bottom, whether it be Jamie Cowan with JC Cornhole, who was one of the first guys that I've met in Cornhole here in Canada, and we've kind of stayed friends since then, and kind of kept things going along. Graham out in St. John's with East Coast Cornhole, Graham and TJ. Graham and I talk almost every day, just kind of what stuff's going on, and just it's that those people, you keep your mental thing in with those people. Pierre, I talk with Pierre with Corn Dudes all the time, so you got to go and get yourself a set of Corn Dudes. Like I said, in Cleveland, I wore them all weekend. I was at the venue. I walked. I did like 15,000 steps on the Thursday doing setup. Feet didn't bother me at all. You've got to get yourself a set of Corn Dudes, because hay is for horses. Corn is for cornhole. Get yourself a set of, or a pair. Set of shoes, pair of shoes with Corn Dudes. Then family. You got to spend some time, meet them finally face to face in Cleveland, and that is the Titan family. There's no other words for them. Titan family. Go and check them out. Titan bags. Easy for me to say. Check them out and get yourself some of the best bags in the business from the best people in the business. And then also get yourself some X Factor boards, because they're kind of sexy. The other guy that talks about them here when I do the show with him, yeah, boards way sexier than him. Then again, family going coast to coast here. Almost, we need some family in BC doing with them. But what we do here all the time, what the show is about, it's perfectly made for the show, because there's no script, no nothing. We're here without a net, on the net, and that is Glenn and Kim with Winging It. They are the ultimate family. We've got some stuff almost planned for St. John's, with doing a little bit of extra stuff. With every year we've try to plan to do something. I think we've almost got it down pat for St. John's here, doing some possibly remote stuff. I can't say it all, but go and check them out. wingingit.ca for some of the best wings, and you better be taking Mom there on Sunday for their Mother's Day special. Other than that, I am out. Not sure if you're watching this here before the weekend. Not sure when Donnie and I will be going live here this weekend. But it'll be sometime. We're going to do it sometime because cornhole is just a fun game to talk about. You guys are my connection to the nation, to North America, to the world, because we've had Australia everywhere else. You guys keep me going. I love yous all. And as I said to Michelle, I say have fun too much. That's what this game is. It's fun. Have fun. Don't worry. Bobby McFerrin, don't worry, be happy. That's all we need.